We are live on TCTV, Cable Channel 8, and YouTube.
Okay, this is John Fletcher, Chairman of the Templeton Board of Appeals. We'll call to order the meeting. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Is there any discussion on them? Everybody read the read the minutes?
Yeah, I did.
Is there any discussion?
None for me.
None from me, John.
All right, can we get a motion?
I
I'll
make a
motion.
motion to accept the minutes from the last
Okay, I'll
meeting.
As written. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All two.
Okay. Unanimous. Second on the agenda is public hearing for Christopher Julian of 131 Dudley Road to consider a variance of the minimum setback requirement for the construction of a metal garage on Dudley Road, 131 Dudley Road. Chris, you're live here.
I am.
You want to let us know what your intentions are there?
Yeah, so basically, I just poured a tar driveway over the summer, and now I'm looking to install a garage because I like to keep my items out of the snow. I wish to have the garage today. My truck is completely covered with snow. I got a big plumbing truck, so basically I don't meet the setbacks. I'm short from the 30-foot yard line. So I got a denial letter from Richard Hanks, and he recommended that I get a surveyor out there, which I did, and then I applied for the variance. And here we are, so just looking to have a possible little relief granted for me.
Okay, the dimensions of the garage and the plan is 25 deep, 24 wide, is that correct?
That's right.
I gotta commend you on a nice plan you had drawn up.
It wasn't cheap.
Better than most. You really
Yes.
tried.
And what, is there a reason why you're planning on having the doors come in from the east? Is that where you?
Yep, just so I can pull out onto my new paved driveway. That's sort of parallel with the road, if you will. It's not perpendicular where I would be pulling out going towards the street. I'll be pulling out onto my driveway. So that's where the exit would be. Yeah.
Is there any reason why you're not tucking it up next to the house?
Well, I mean, if I did that, I would have to pour a whole nother slew of tar, and then my entire driveway would be just a giant parking lot. So I feel this is the best position for me because it's going to be a metal building, and it's not really going to match, the uniformity of the house where it's vinyl siding. So, and not to mention the house is going to be 100 feet, over 100 feet long. So it's not really too aesthetically pleasing. Also, it's going to provide a noise barrier for the traffic flowing left to right. And before I had the garage, the tar driveway poured, I had 4 trees out front, and they were blocking the view of the neighbors. Not that I mind seeing the neighbors, but that provided a little noise insulation for me as well. But I had to remove those trees because they were dead. So now onwards and upwards we go. So hopefully I can get a little shelter from the storms here.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I have one. How far off the garage is it to the pavement? Do you know?
Yeah, I actually measured it out. So that's going to be 30 feet from where the tar ends to my garage, the start of it. And it's actually 40 feet from where the middle of the where the yellow dotted where the yellow line is on the road.
The
So
driving lane?
correct. I'm
Oh.
quite a ways away.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually, if I can show you this, I made a little sketch here. I don't know if you can see that, but you'll see the green, that's the 40-foot mark, and the red is the 30-foot mark, and that's from right where my pavement ends. So there's 30 feet from the red to the beginning of the build.
That's
The
the
way-
edge of the pavement. It looks like it's your property line on the plan.
That's right.
That shows it's 16 foot back from the main road, from the front,
Right.
Yeah.
where it should be
15
30.
Yeah, it says here on the plan, on your plot plan you had done, it shows 15.7 feet on the right corner of the garage and 16.2 feet from the left side of the garage to the road.
Yeah. Yep.
To
And
the-
the side setbacks are right at 15 feet. So I don't meet one requirement. So that's why I'm asking for some relief.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 30 in the front,
That's
But-
right.
but you just showed us a plan with red line on it that you said was 30 feet.
That's from the edge of the tar. So it's not
It
quite
looks
where my
like
property
it-
line sets.
Okay, that's actually, I believe it's drawn on the plan. As you can see your neighbor's driveway coming out onto the road.
Yep.
And it looks like that must be the edge of the pavement of the Dudley Road, where his driveway comes out onto the road.
That's right.
So the actual pavement is 30 feet from the edge of the
Proposed.
proposed.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't look like that drawing, the red line. And what did you say the green line was?
So the green line is in the middle of the actual road.
That's the center line of the road?
That's right. That's
The
40
actual-
feet.
Yeah. So it's only a 20-foot right of way? Or a 20-foot pavement?
Yes.
Dudley Road is only paved 20 feet wide?
Really?
It does, on the plan, it says that it's a 60-foot wide layout. So that is fairly wide layout.
But the important thing is that the house, but the garage is gonna be 30 feet from the paved section. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you have grass in front of that, at the idea?
Yeah, there'll be grass. There'll be no
Keep it
means
long.
of egress onto that. It'll just be coming out of the side of it, basically.
Yeah, but you have, on the, plot plan here, you got the concrete boundary on the right side. And there's another boundary on the left, and that shows it right on the edge of the road.
Yes, that's the edge of the
That's
layout
his
of the road.
property land.
Yeah.
So he's still, no matter how you slice it, he's still short what, 14 feet anyway.
From the road boundary, from the taking of the land which is always the case, isn't it? I mean, there's the tar part, then there's the
Then there's always a
town
buffer.
part, or the state part, or whatever, whoever owns it.
Yeah. Yeah, most roads aren't paved right to the
Right, exactly.
right
They're
of way.
usually 10 or 15 feet. The state probably has a little bit more. They take a little bit more, maybe, in most cases,
Yeah, like I said, that's a 60-foot wide right
Right,
of way.
which is more than normal. I mean, for a town.
Yeah,
So yeah, so it's probably, if the road is centered, it's probably, 15 to 20 feet from the pavement to the edge of their taken. That's where his boundary starts.
Right.
They got like 15 feet there, then he's got 15 feet more on his land to give you 30 feet from the edge of the road, that paving part. The actual
and I
road.
think, and take into consideration as well that the coming in, the doors aren't going to be between the.
Right.
in-
I thought
the-
that was also, right. You
Yeah,
don't have it
that's-
going right out to the road. That'd be kind of tight.
Right.
That there's no egress going from that facing the road, I think is very positive.
Yeah.
I looked at it, I go, well, that he's doing things right as far as that goes. Yeah,
Yeah, they won't be backing out into the road. They'll be
exactly.
turning
They
around,
don't have to
driving
back out
out.
at all. They'll have room to, I went driving by there to check it out, and the driveway is real wide. So there's room to drive out or to back out and turn around in the driveway. So there's no
Mhm.
need of backing out onto that road that you don't really want to do. And it's plenty of room there for a truck to come in if you're delivering something, those kind of things, if that would need be,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's no,
I mean, probably
you don't
50
intend
foot.
to have any driveway between the garage and the road.
No.
Just
Okay.
one.
I also
That
have
could
a
be-
letter here from my neighbors. I don't know if it helps or hurts, but with their consent, they wrote me a letter. I'm pretty friendly with my neighbors. I've done some work for them. I moved here 3 years ago, so I'm slowly building a name for myself as far as the plumbing and heating goes. And I'm not as efficient if I can't store my truck somewhere indoors and fighting the snow and cleaning the truck off and etc.
Your neighbors all that you had, nobody complained I know about, I heard about.
No,
And you do have a neighbor saying that it's okay with them besides that positive. No,
that's right.
we didn't have any complaints on that.
Yeah, we didn't get any letters, anything on it that I know of.
Right.
Nothing came in from everything that was sent out to the abutters.
Okay, thank you, Laurie.
So he is looking for a 15-foot variance.
That's what it sounds like.
That's a 15, minus a
Right.
few inches, but I'm saying
Minus a
15,
couple inches, yeah.
You're covered at 15.
Yeah,
Right.
yep,
And like I say, the side setbacks are right on, so
yeah, 15.3, 15.
Yeah, something like that. I think 15 would cover it all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to read that letter from your abutter.
yeah, sure. Says to the town of Templeton, Chris has been a neighbor of ours for about 3 years now. We met him during 2008 while he was rehabbing his current home. He's a very pleasant young man with an up and coming business. Chris came over 2 weeks ago asking if we would be okay for his proposed garage location. He told us he did not meet the setbacks for the property lines. My wife and I have no problem with his garage build. I hope this letter helps Chris advance forward with his garage build. Thank you, Norm Ledger, 142 Dudley Road. He's got his phone number. So,
Could we have a copy of that just to have for our records in the
yeah,
file?
sure.
That'd be nice. Just, I don't know if you guys think it's necessary, but why not?
Yeah, I think,
Would that
I don't
be
think we'll
something
make
I
that
email to
decision.
you or something? Take a picture of an email?
Yeah, that
Okay,
should be fine. Just, just to have it for our records.
yeah, send it to Laurie.
sure.
Laurie's
We can
email,
drop her
right?
off in the mailbox too.
Yeah,
And
I'll do that.
You know where
I'll do
that is, I bet. There's a mailbox out front of the office building. Just put
Yeah.
Lori on it.
Sure.
That's an easy way to go too. Whichever way you want to do it.
Okay, cool.
All right, any other questions from the board?
I don't, other than, actually I do, John. Can we write this up so that it's, he cannot, I see where he's putting the doors to the driver, which is fine with me, but we can write it up so that he can't put another set of doors on the side towards the road?
Yeah,
mean,
I think
is that-
we can
is
make,
that- Can we
we
do
can,
that?
we can make that a condition.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that should be put in there. If
Yes.
we
It's a good idea,
decide,
Joe.
To do that, because you know how that, John, we've been on the board for a lot of years and we've seen a few shady things.
Yeah, so the garage does have one pre-built door in it, and it is facing to the backyard, so
That would be facing the backyard.
that's right.
What size door is that?
It's a small one. I'd have to look it up, but it's just like your normal, probably a 28 or 30 inch door.
Oh, you talk about a man door?
Oh,
Just a
oh,
man door, you know what I mean?
oh,
Oh,
just a,
okay.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And what size garage doors are you planning to put in?
2 10-foot roll-up doors.
10 foot tall, 10 foot wide?
So yeah, 10-foot tall, and I believe 10-foot wide, maybe a little wider. Yeah, I think it is 10 feet actually. Just so I can squeeze the truck in there vertically and horizontally.
Yeah, so we'll put a condition on that, the two 10 by 10 doors be facing the east.
Sure.
You don't have any problem with that? Okay. And if there's no other questions from the board,
None from me, John.
did we just lose Alan?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
We can hear
I
you.
think my finger hit something.
Hey, yeah, you're back.
Damn thing.
So any other questions?
There he is. Yeah.
Alan,
I'm good.
Joe, you good?
I'm good.
All right, we'll open it up for public. I don't know if we got anybody from the public here on this case. Hearing none. I guess there's no discussion. We have nothing else to add.
Nothing.
Chris,
Nope.
you're all set?
I'm good to go. Actually, one more thing, just because I want to do it right the first time. So the company of this building, they said anything 600 square feet and under, you don't need frost walls, and this is right at that margin. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm not going to do the frost walls because it's not required through the company. So I don't know if you guys are opposed to anything like that, but that's just
That's not in our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
okay.
There you go, Alan. You're right. Have to bring that up with the building inspector.
Yep, I'll ask Hanks about it
Yeah, he'll definitely make the call on that.
because he's been out already. He's already been out and checked it out, and he drew me the denial form, so he's up to scratch on everything.
Yeah, I think you gotta build it to state code,
Yep.
town and state building codes. So I don't know where this your builder's coming out of
Fitchburg.
Fitchburg.
Yep.
Yeah, they should know. They should
Should
know.
know.
They should know, but regardless, you run it by Hanks.
Definitely.
They should be pulling the permit because they're doing it
Yeah, they are.
and they're licensed for it.
Yep.
So
Yep. Okay, no other discussion. Do we hear a motion to close the public hearing on this case?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second it.
Okay, no discussion. We'll go to vote. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, what do we got? 3, 4? That's not the correct time. 6:46, closing the public hearing. Okay, thanks, Chris.
Thank you guys very much for your time. I'm gonna sign off.
We'll make a decision on this probably later on tonight. And we'll get it drawn up for you and then you have to record it with the registry of deeds. You familiar with that?
No, but I'll find out more information on it.
Yeah, you can they'll let you know down at the building department.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Thank you guys very much. Have a great night.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Have a
in.
nice night.
All right, we need a break or you want to get right into the next one?
Whatever you want to do, John.
Anybody need a break?
No, I think we can probably
Okay.
work more than 15 minutes.
Geez, I don't know. It's winter, I'm not used to this. All right, what is it? 6:48. We'll open a public hearing to consider a petition paid by DNA Holding Incorporated, Jim Davis. Property on 881 Patriots Road, to consider a special permit for a change of substantial extension of use. And I believe we have Jim Davis is online here.
Sir.
You want to let us know what you want to do over there, Jim?
Sure. So I have two buildings, about 60 self-storage units, and they run down one side of my property. And I have just a wide open, flat, cleared area, which is level with asphalt grindings. And my self-storage units are maxed out. So I'd like to build more units, obviously to increase revenue. It's a pretty quiet operation. Never really had any problems with that property. I have a tenant living in an apartment above a garage. I've got a garage below, which a guy stores cars in. I've got this pole barn next door, which a guy stores, he's just storing construction equipment. And the land is just sitting there, and the property, once again, is pretty quiet. So I'd like to expand if possible. Just more, 1-story steel storage unit buildings. And basically I'd be looking for as many as I can fit on the property as long as I meet the setbacks. I'm not sure. I sort of drew up two proposals. One is tearing down that barn that I mentioned and putting buildings up. The other is building behind the barn, leaving the barn intact. And I'm not really sure which way to go. And I honestly didn't want to go spending a ton of money on surveying and all the other good stuff that comes along with a project like this until I got a feel for if it's even possible. So here I am.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of a catch-22, because it's hard for us to make a decision on whether to give you a variant or a special permit for that without knowing what you want to do.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'd say that I would want to do the proposal that says proposed expansion, removing barn. So it looks like, 3 buildings, meeting the setbacks and expanding my operation.
All right, so you gave us a few different drawings here. Does one of them show the barn? Yeah, I guess there's one drawing here you gave in your application where there's 3 buildings all going the same direction
Yeah, exactly.
with the barn disappearing.
Yes.
All right, so that's what you'd like to consider
Yes, I think
with
that
an
would,
option. If the board feels the other option's a better way to go, that's an option as well.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to sound like too much of a capitalist in today's society, but you know what? I'm here to make money. So the more buildings I can put in, the more revenue I generate. So, I mean, obviously it would be great to just put up 3 new buildings. The barn, although I kind of like it, it needs vinyl siding, it needs doors. In front of it's all ratty pavement that's got to be repaved. So if the barn went away and we just made contiguous buildings, so when you looked at it from the road, you would see 3 decent looking self-storage buildings and then the garage and residence there. I think that would be pretty appealing, just as a guy driving by. To have the barn, even if I fixed it up, and then have the buildings, might not be as nice. But once again, I'm just presenting it to you guys.
Yep, okay.
3 new buildings and just call it a day. Pave it, put up a sign, and make it look nice, and yeah, get rid of that barn would be great.
How long those other buildings been there for? If you don't mind me interrupting, John.
No, go ahead.
You know what? I'm not sure. I bought it about 5 or 6 years ago from John Forth, and I guess his father-in-law built them. I'm guessing in the 90s. I'm sure I could find out.
Really?
The the self-storage units. I think the garage and residence in Pole Barn have been there forever.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a car dealership. I've
Right,
actually seen it for you
decades.
guys. When the Dunhams wanted to do a auto repair, auto sales, and
Yeah.
I didn't have some kind of a license that I had to apply for every 3 years, I guess. Now you guys mail it to me, but before I had to go find it at the town. And so anyway, I lost that. So now it's just sitting there. But yeah, this place has been commercial forever.
Yeah, I believe Ray Rice built those.
Did he?
Was that
Yeah.
his name? Okay.
Yeah, he used
He
to be a
sold it?
police officer in town. I
John?
didn't, know- yes,
We
Laurie?
have a question from Terry Griffiths. She'd like to know if it's residentially zoned, which it is, RA2, how is it possible that this business is on that property already?
That's pre-existing non-conforming use. That was, Ray Rice built those storage buildings prior to the zoning.
We also have a letter from Mr. Stephen Drury, which I actually emailed to you.
I read it myself.
Yep. Yeah, there's actually a couple of them, right?
There was the original email, and he supplied a letter today.
Okay, so the letter took precedence over the,
Previous.
that was just an email before, or?
The first one was an email. This is an actual letter.
Okay. Yeah, I had them both out. Would you like to read that to us?
If you'd like me to, I will.
How's the board feel?
I've already read it, but
You've already read it? Yeah, I've read it. Joe, have you?
Yeah, I've skimmed over it. I just got it tonight. I've read it.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessary, Laurie.
Okay, as long as you address his concerns, we're good.
Yeah, it seemed like his concerns were that we were changing zoning,
right, yeah.
and that's really not what the application is. It's for an extension of a non-conforming use. Alan and Joe, you both feel that way as well?
Yeah, I had a little bit of, I wanted some clarification on that legal part of it myself. That's what I was asking, why I wanted to talk to you before the meeting started. I was gonna ask you about, you've been around a lot longer than I have with this and in the laws and the guidelines that we have to go by. And I didn't want to overstep into something that I think planning board should be given permission for. Like, if we give him permission to do these, then what does that mean? He doesn't have to go to planning board? And that means,
Oh, yeah, he still have to meet
Right,
all
because he has to
zoning.
meet all the things that planning board deals with, not us. So he would still have to do that, number one. I didn't know if that was the case. And also, I did have a question about the legality part of it. If we can give him the right to be in a commercial endeavor like this, if we can give him the right to be able to change that. But, I know it's already been commercial too. If he's doing the same thing that he's already doing, I just didn't know about what you're saying. Like, can we fit in our guidelines to be able to do it? I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, it is. We have to make a determination that the change of use or the expansion of a non-conforming use, we have to make a determination that it's no more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use.
Mhm.
And, if we feel that he can double the size of it or whatever percentages it's going up, if that can be done without harming the neighborhood.
Sure, looks, what's, with all the complaints, the two complaints that we got, nobody really mentioned besides the zoning part, did they? What's what was the big reason why they don't want to see that happen?
Well, I believe there's a lot of, I wish I got the old letter. I can't find the new letter here. Oh, here it is.
I'll get it on my other phone. Let me see if I can find it. Where'd it go?
John, am I correct? The lot size is 1.58, and that's for both lots, am I correct?
That's just
Jim.
one lot.
That's one lot.
That's just the one he wants to put on the 3 new buildings on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, what is it? 1.58 acres,
Yes,
lot B.
yeah.
Yeah, lot A's. What's
All right,
lot
I
A
just
have
wasn't
on
sure
it?
if they were combined together.
Yeah, there's 2 separate deeds for those. Is that correct, Jim?
Yeah, I think they're 2 separate deeds. Lot A has a residential home and an oversized garage.
Right,
And I think that's zoned residential.
Yeah, everything's zoned residential.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
but
the whole-
B
the
has
whole-
yeah. B has the pre-existing, I guess, commercial classification.
Right. I believe
A does not.
when you came in a few years ago for a commercial garage,
Yes.
that had been, that was a commercial garage that was discontinued for more than 2 years.
That's what it was.
The
Yeah.
commercial use was discontinued for over 2 years. So that's, you lose your grandfathering rights if you discontinued it for over 2 years.
That's just a town ordinance that we have to follow, I guess, legally, we have to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a town and the state, that's kind of a state.
No, I get that. I totally get that. That stung a little, but I get it. It's,
Yeah,
the way it is.
And actually, maybe some of that stuff should be changed when you run into something like this. That business has been there for a lot of years, and it's like, what is the reason? What do we do about something like this that maybe should be or give that person a right to have a garage?
yeah, yeah.
There was nothing in place of it. We have discussed it a little bit. Maybe something should be in place for things like this that come up.
And he, but this was clearly, it's always been a mini storage since
Yes.
zoning has been in.
been changed, yeah.
And, that hasn't changed. I'll scan through the letter here, see if there's some points that we want to get across.
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm looking at too.
Yeah, he's got an issue with spot zoning.
Yeah.
And, I believe what he's meaning by that is you can't zone one little lot,
Right.
something different, but that's not the case here. This is a extension of a pre-existing non-conforming use.
Right.
So that's bananas and apples.
Now, if he stopped, just to go back to just my own sake of asking the question, if he stopped renting it, 3 years went by, would he lose the right to be able to rent?
Yes,
It'd be-
if all the
Same thing
mini
as the
storage
garage.
units were empty,
It would be same thing as the garage.
it
You'd
would be the
stop
same
doing
thing
it.
as the garage. Yeah.
So don't stop renting it.
No, the way I understand that is if the former owner had on the garage now, if the former owner had
Mhm.
actually filled out some kind of a business application,
Uh-huh.
it would have been enough for him to hold it vacant as long as he had that business application in his name.
Okay.
He could have held it vacant for 5 years. but
That's
kept
all-
renewing
that's-
that business application.
And you
And
could
if-
very well be right on
I
that.
could have
Yeah.
sold it to me and I could have picked up and done the garage thing.
Right.
Because that's what it was zoned for. But
Yeah.
I mean, obviously in this case, I've got
Yeah.
60 units.
Yeah, that's a done deal.
If I got
But-
hit by if we got nuked, I guess it would probably sit vacant for 3 years, but I mean, there's really no
Yeah.
way one concern like this is going to be ever.
Right, you're not gonna stop renting it and making your money, no. I was just saying as an example, this is what we're dealing with. So basically his use right now is the same use. We're not changing zoning like you're saying. he's looking for an extension on what he's already using it for,
Yeah, a pre-existing condition, exactly.
pre-existing condition. Which does fall in our privy, is what you're saying, John, legally wise. Right?
Yes, to expand a pre-existing non-conforming use is a, that's a in the town bylaw, in the state bylaw, actually, is the stipulations that the town must hear,
Here,
just like the variances,
Yeah.
every town has to have a board of appeals to hear variances. You can't just say, no, that don't pass zoning, and you can't do it. Certain things you can appeal, and
right.
and expanding a pre-existing non-conforming use is one of those items that the Board of Appeals has jurisdiction over.
If I may, John, may I ask Jim a question?
Yeah.
Jim, the fact is that a couple of neighbors are against this. I don't think it has anything to do with zoning. They're just trying to use zoning to slow you down or stop you. Is this something you can do, or do you know what their huge issues are? Is this something you can do to maybe appease the neighbors that wouldn't cost you a whole lot, that would make it more appealing for the town also?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had seen that letter. I have no idea. I've never had. So I
Any
guess
contact?
I know one of the Drurys I used to rent a lot in the back too, but I had to ask him to leave. But it wasn't Steve, it was somebody else, like maybe Harry. But I don't know Steve. I've never, unless I've met him and I didn't catch his name. And the other woman, Mr. Rice, I don't know. Unless once again, no neighbor has ever come up to me and said, "Hey, I don't like what you're doing here."
Right.
No one's ever called the number and said, "Hey, I don't like what you're doing there." So I've really never received any complaints. But if they have issues with fencing or I don't know, whatever they, I would definitely consider whatever they like to propose to make it more appealing to the neighborhood. That's for sure.
Well, as a ZBA member, one of my big things is, how do the neighbors feel? When we're going to give a variance, how does it affect everybody in the town? And that would be my only thing, is, what's your big gripe? Is it a reasonable gripe that they're griping about? That's something that would make them so they'd be happy with it versus unhappy with it, or at least they could live with it and not be like detrimental to their environment. You know what I mean? Having something commercial right there, that many more cars going in, is there something you can do, like a row of trees, or maybe a decorative kind of a fence for a little ways, just to kind of like, just to give a little separation from it. That was my only thought. But if you never really had much contact with anybody, or anybody really come up and said what they don't really want, they're just trying to use zoning as a way to do it. And I think it's personal for them. I think it's their neighbors. So for them, it's something they don't want, and they're trying to use whatever they can legally to stop it, which in their case would be zoning. That's what I feel about it. I just didn't know if there was something that aesthetically pleasing you could do to make it look better, but I don't know. Just a thought. That's all.
No, I hear you, and I would definitely, whether it's decorative fencing or a row of arborvitaes or boxwoods or something to soften it a little.
Yeah, that's all.
I would definitely not be opposed to that. Sure.
Yeah, but maybe it's just getting more into the planning board realm than my realm, that realm.
Okay.
I mean, they're the ones that are going to say, "Hey, we're going to let you do this and do that," and the neighbors will probably go to those meetings, I imagine, if you can go to any meetings.
Yeah. If the virus is under control.
Yeah.
Reading down in Steve's letter, he states, and in past possible, currently this property has 2 semi-trailers and trucks stored. It is not an issue here, but this property lost its grandfather of 1 year after it was bought, as no license were issued. This request is illegal in my view. He mentions there's no license was issued. Do you have a business permit for the storage business, Jim?
I'm sure I do. Every 3 years I get the letter and we send it back, and I'm sure it's on file with the town. I could probably dig it up here if I have to, but yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sure I do.
it's pretty much legit, you know, you can tell you're running a business there driving by.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, if you could get that, we could probably find it in town hall as well.
All right.
But that seemed to be a concern. And is there a semi-trailer stored there, or?
There are actually two and some kind of a construction trailer. And the guy pays me rent. I think he pays, actually, I don't even know what he pays. And then I have two trucks back there that I'm, because I have space, I'm collecting junk. But yeah, I've got two cars back. Two.
Any of those vehicles registered, insured, or just registered? Are they all unregistered?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think
I
it
don't
really
mind.
falls in our
No.
preview there either.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I don't know if that really matters to us. I mean, if that's really our jurisdiction at all to say, hey, you can't have trailers parked there that are not registered, which I know I don't think anybody in town can, even though it happens all the time. You know, I mean, having unregistered vehicles, you're not supposed to be able to do that, right? In town? Isn't there some
yeah, you
rules?
can store unregistered vehicles.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a limit of how many you can have, I believe, and how far they have to be set off the road.
right.
That's a you know, building.
But either way, that really has nothing to do with us to him, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Right. It doesn't have anything to do with the building of the buildings,
Right.
Huh?
expanding
Or the
storage.
variance or any of that
So it
stuff.
doesn't matter for us.
That might be under the Board of Health. Not sure. Call Lori up.
Steve would advise Jim to title to suit a lodium deed, thereby removing any and all control by the town. I don't know what he's talking about there. Here's the due course registered deed. And he gets into the operation of the garage for body work, mechanics, changing public is commercial, changing.
Which you're not doing or going for, but
Yeah,
he's given like a history of the whole thing anyway, but
yeah. Then he gets into another piece of property.
the fact if he needs bathrooms there and needs all that, that part falls under the planning board's approval too, right?
Yeah,
So nothing to do with us on that.
you can only cover so much of your property, impervious, and you know all the other existing bylaws.
Mhm.
You know, we're granting relief on just
The idea of the buildings,
the
how we want to write
expanding,
it up.
expanding and pre-existing non-conforming use.
Yeah.
And I believe the planning board, you know, he's still got to get a permit from the planning board, the building inspector, building permit
Mhm.
as to
Right, how he's
the
gonna
rest
lay
of
it
the
up,
zoning.
set it up, how many buildings, how the buildings are, right, how much space in between buildings, how much, you know, does it have to be paved, does it have to have bathrooms, I don't know, whatever the planning board deems for a commercial site, right?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. Number one, I'm just gonna hold this up on the map here. On this side right here, shows the building. How far is that from the property line? There's no footage there. And how far is it from that building to the house and garage? If you can see it right in here.
So
So we have no measurements to go by. You're just throwing something on a piece of paper and you're asking us to make heads and tails of it. And we need to see the layout because we don't know if you're going to be encroaching on any lines or if you're all set. But these really aren't very detailed, and everything seems to be a little sketchy.
okay, so that's not my intention. I'm sorry about that, but I put this together as a proposed expansion that would meet whatever the rear setback is and the side setback is and the front setback is. I didn't know those exactly. I couldn't find them online. That was probably my lack of being able to search the internet. I tried to go to town hall. I know in my town you can buy the bylaws, but I couldn't get to the town hall to buy them. So I tried to look them up, but I couldn't find them. But I would assume that if you guys approve this, you could approve it pending the side, rear, and front setbacks. That's why there's nothing there, to be honest with you.
And what about in between the proposed buildings? You got 3 proposed buildings. As far as the width between the buildings in back here.
Yeah, my other site, I've got a site in Gardner that has the same thing, stacked buildings, and it's 25 feet between the two. And that's
Alright.
enough to sort of get a U-Haul truck in there, have 2 cars pass, and not smash into the building.
And how about between the house and the garage and the one proposed building, which would be right there?
I could make that 20 feet as well. And basically just adjust the size of the building, or, whatever you guys would want to see. You wouldn't want it, I wouldn't want it that close to the building. Just because I know the corners of these buildings, they're just steel, but they've been hit. So you want to give people who rent trucks and aren't familiar with driving them plenty of room to turn.
How many proposed storage units are you going to be putting in with the 3 buildings?
I'd love to get another 200, but I don't know if they're going to fit. And it depends on the size. If I do all 10 by 30s, I won't get as many if I did all 5 by 5s. I have to sort of do a little research and see.
How many do you have in the other 2?
I think it's 58 total. So both buildings are 58. They are mostly 10 by 20s. And then there's a couple of little 5 by 10s on the end.
Mm-hmm.
And by self-storage standards, that's pretty small. If
Oh,
you
is
look
it?
at Smart and all these other places, they're doing 500, 1,000 units. It's insane. Where they have the manned office and all that other stuff. I would just,
Wow.
what I do is different, where there's 24-hour access. And I'd like to put cameras on this property. What works out nice is the town has lights. I'd like to get a few more of the town lights on the poles. I just basically run it the same way I'm running it now, only a little bigger and a lot cleaner.
Yeah, that seems to be a big issue with Steve Drury's letter is the junk in the back, the trailers, said there's rubber wheels, rubber junk along the highway, storing of oil drums.
On my property?
Maybe he's talking about his own.
I don't, Brian. Oh, I think this is another piece of property, Brian Drury property.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's into another.
There's a guy across the street. I don't know how he gets away with it. Across the street from where you are, Jim, diagonally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody, I don't know. Some people just get away with stuff. I can see the complaint there. That must be some relative of his, same name.
He's got the 18-wheelers and the boats and you name it.
All kinds of stuff. It's just been sitting there for a lot of years.
That's
Is
amazing.
that what you plan on doing for your storage?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to anybody. I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy.
Yeah. But that's a legitimate complaint. I don't know, just, whatever reason, he's gotten away with it.
Yeah, I think my belief is those semi-trailer and truck are owned by Brian Drury.
Mm-hmm.
And they're illegal to be there, park and take money as rental space as well is illegal. So is that trailer, those trailers belong to you, Jim, or?
No, I inherited those trailers when I bought the facility from John, and he was renting those trailers. They haven't moved since I've owned the place. And the person who owns them pays every month, and that's that. That's kind of the nature of this business.
That's what you're hoping for? Somebody brings their stuff there, just pays you forever?
Pretty much. The things, and you know what? It's great. I have a basement full of stuff that I probably haven't touched in 10 years myself.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I'm sorry Steve has these complaints. This is the first I've heard of it, and I'm sorry that I don't know Brian and Steve are related, and I don't know what's
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Laurie?
Wheeler and taking them in and out every day. Those things have sat
the
there.
property that's being referred to with the oil drums and things like that is not Mr. Davis's property. Steve is referring to a property up the street and the property across the street. Both properties are in process due to complaints.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Okay. But that's not the subject
Well, wait.
we're talking about today.
It is not.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. And Laurie, do you know, would this property be subject to a site plan review and permit by planning board?
Being honest, I do not know the answer to that, and I can get back to you tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. All right, thank you, Laurie.
I would think before we do anything that we're gonna need a little better layout and the footage and spaces, how wide the driveways are gonna be and how close they're gonna be to the side setbacks and.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. But
I mean,
what I'm thinking,
he could put this any place where if you say that, you can put it any place you want. I mean, we're gonna need more of a detailed drawing.
well, that's what we'll continue the public hearing, or I'm thinking we could continue this public hearing. We'll get more information, find out if the planning board, if we're going to hand this off to the planning board for further permitting. If that's the case, we can give a variance or a special permit to expand a non-conforming use and hand it off to the planning board to make sure the layouts are what they want, and the site plan, the drainage, do everything, do all the site work, the screening. They could handle everything. There's no need of us doing it and the planning board. If that's the planning board, we're going to hand this off to the planning board. That'd be great. If they don't have a whack at it, if the buck stops here, we're going to need a site plan. We're going to need, screening. We're going to have to address all those things in our permit. But if we don't need to do that, and we're just handing it off to the planning board and say that we feel that he can expand this use without a hardship in town, I think we could vote on, we could make a decision on that in the future and just hand it off without reinventing the wheel twice. you know, he'd have to come in with all the stuff for us. We'd have to digest it all. And then the planning board would start all over again. You know, that I don't think that's necessary if the planning board is gonna be getting this after us. Do you agree?
I agree.
I agree. It should be I think it's the planning board's, jurisdiction.
Yeah,
on
that's in
how
their
this gets
wheelhouse.
laid out. He does need a variance from us to approve it, but he doesn't
Right.
necessarily need the details because that should be up to the planning board, as you're saying.
Yeah, but we'll get a clarification on that tomorrow.
Yes,
And
making sure that the planning board's going to get it or legally can get it.
yeah, and find out if, you know, if we need to address all the issues ourselves as a
Right.
board,
Yeah.
or if we're just handing this off and saying, you know, yeah, passes us, or it doesn't pass us, one way or the other, we'll vote on it. And hand it off to them, or if we have to get into the weeds with all the details.
Right. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be stormwater management and all that stuff, right? That has to fall in this.
Yeah, you know, that's what
How big
I'm
of a
not
deal
sure
that
where we are with that. You
Yeah.
know, that's not
something
our,
that if they're very-
generally that's not in our wheelhouse.
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know, the planning board, they're used to that. They got the horsepower to get that done.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Laurie?
I believe you are correct that due to the impervious material that has to be put down, a site plan review is required.
Okay.
We also have a comment on YouTube. Someone would like a little more clarification on the trailers at Mr. Davis's property.
Okay, Mr. Davis, could you give us a little more clarity on the trailers?
Yeah, I've got 2 trailers and a construction trailer, stored on the property that I collect rent on that, don't move. They're just sitting there. They're empty. Or you know what? They could be full. But no one's ever gone into them as far as I know to like get stuff in and out of them. I think it's somebody who owns these trailers and just needs a place to store them. And that's how they came to be. They were there before I bought the place, and they're still there.
Thank you.
In what year did you buy the place, Jim?
I don't know exactly. I think 5 or 6 years ago. No, probably 3 or 4 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but I could find out. How long have we owned 2A? I mean, American Custom. Maybe 4 or 5 years, but I can find out exactly. I'm sure it said, you know what? I bet you it says it on the deed when the property was transferred.
I can ask Luann for an assessor's card tomorrow. That'll have the information on it.
Okay, Laurie, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. July 22nd, 2014 is when the deed was stamped. So somewhere around July of 2014. So that's 6 years? Or 5.5 years?
Yeah, and those trailers pre-existed that.
Yes.
I hope that helped whoever was asking the question. And so what's a percentage that you want to increase? You say currently there's, it looks like on the plan is 250 feet of building. And they're 30 foot wide,
Yes.
and you're proposing 150 by 40.
You know, if they fit, I would love to. It's kind of a strange lot with the way it angles in the back. I know the garage and residence has a small septic system because there's an apartment there. But yeah, I mean, I would like to do whatever fits. And that's, you know, part of the reason for tearing down the barn is to put more buildings in. I mean, the barn itself is 40 by 40. It's a huge structure. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do another 400 lineal feet or 435 lineal feet of building if they fit. I mean, the land is just sitting there with just asphalt grindings on it, and you know, it's not very appealing, and it's
So you're-
actually unproductive. It's just not doing
Yeah.
anything.
So this proposal, you're planning on tearing down a 1,600 square foot building? The
Yes.
40 by 40, you said?
Yeah.
So you'd be subtracting a 1,600 foot building and adding a 150 by 40, an 85 by 40. And that's a 200 by 40.
Yes.
My quick math. About 2,300 square feet.
Additional?
No, 2,300 proposed construction, less 16.
$2,300. I must have done my math wrong.
All right, maybe I did. What do you got?
150 times 40 is 6,000. 85 times 40 is 3,400. 200 times 40 is 8,000. So 17,400. If you back that 1,600 square foot pole barn out of it, I'm looking at 15,800 additional. Does that make sense? And you go 100 times 30 is 3,000. 150 times 30 is 4,500. So I got 7,500. Well, I guess if you count the pole barn, it's more. Rounded up to 10,000 if you got the. So I'm probably looking for 150% increase.
That's with tearing down the. So
Yeah, if
you're
you include tearing
doubling
down the
it,
pole barn.
doubling it plus a half.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess the extra width adds up quick.
I mean, it is the kind of thing. The nature of this business is not a lot of people are in and out of there. You know, you get the occasional people who are there a couple times a week to get their coffee maker and get stuff. And then you get people who lock them up. I mean, I've got doctors who rent them to store their files. And there's cobwebs on the garage doors.
Yeah,
Prepay with a credit card a year in advance, and you don't hear from them.
yeah.
And I'd say half of my tenants, you just don't hear from them. So it's, you know, although it sounds like a lot, it really isn't.
Yeah, I drive by there quite a bit and I seldom see anything happening there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if
And
the rest of the board, you get the same experience as I?
I go by there all the time, and very rarely you could count them on the number of on your hands. It's
Yeah,
very many cars in there.
definitely not a problem at the current rate, and I could see doubling it doubling it, or wouldn't really be much of an issue. You know, the lot being the impervious of the lot and all that, you know, those are the issues I think that really would have to be addressed. So we'll see if the planning board, you know, has jurisdiction over this after we get it or not. And we'll get into that if we have to. But I think we'll have, you know, we definitely have to open it up to get more information that Lori can provide us. You thinking you got any more questions for tonight? Joe?
I don't.
Alan, how about you?
No, I don't. Just want to discuss a few things with you after.
Yeah.
On the meeting.
Yeah, well, you can, you know, we can discuss it now if you.
So what do you think we should be sending this back to the planning board? I mean, we're definitely gonna need a set of prints to know what we're doing.
If the buck's stopping with us, we're gonna need a lot of things.
Right.
But you know, if it's getting to the planning board after us, I think, you know, I'd feel comfortable voting and with the information we have, figuring it's gonna have another look at the planning board.
I feel kind of the same way. I could make decision tonight if we worded a certain way, you know.
Yeah, the only thing we, you
We
know,
haven't got enough information.
yeah, we got to keep the public hearing open. There's a lot of information we're going to need if we need to address all the issue, if it's not going to planning board, and that
Right.
we won't have that answer tonight. So, you know, I think we definitely have to continue this for more information.
Yeah, I'm not saying we, as a board, we could probably handle it if we would approve it, but I don't think it's really in our wheelhouse. You know what I mean? We're not set up for it. We don't have that base knowledge that the planning board deals with all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'd be asking,
Jim-
I'd be going and asking them questions or something if I was to have dealt with it. But we did, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of
Exactly.
questions.
Yeah. So, Jim, do you have anything to add for tonight?
No, just that, well, I guess, yes. You know, when I wanted to revisit the garage and residence and put a auto dealership in there, one of my arguments was you're taking a pretty tough looking building and you're going to do something nice with it. And I think the same thing applies here where, you know, if we tear down that pole barn and if we put up some nice perimeter fencing, my other properties have a gated access, which is it's electric, it's quiet, but it's nice. It keeps out the riffraff. Not that I've ever had a problem here, but it would be a chance to really make, you know, that stretch of 2A look a lot better than it does now. And, you know, the main way that happens is with more revenue. So I would love to improve my property and do something where the neighbors are happy. And just make it look a little better because, you know, if you look at the front of it, in front of the garage, in front of the pole barn, it's all paved. I don't need that much asphalt. I have to rip that asphalt out, maybe do some grass berms, but just make it look a little softer and a little nicer. Because a lot of times you drive by these storage places, the more modern ones, and you can't even tell they're storage places. I mean, they're really nice. So I would just say that, you know, my intention is to make it a lot nicer than it is now.
Okay. And is there anybody in the public that has any comments?
The only last comment was wondering if there is a time limit on the trailers being stored on the property and if there is a lease. If those are not part of the ZBA's purview, I can look into that later.
Yeah, maybe Jim might be able to answer those questions.
Yeah, as far as a limit as to how long I can store trailers on the property, I don't know. I would imagine there's a limit. I mean, the property's zoned for storage, so I guess as long as I can store, the way I understand it, as long as I have storage units, I can do parking on the parking lot. But you know what? I can't swear to that. I know up in Gardner, I've got a facility where I just have a line of cars and campers and people do outdoor storage and some people come and go with their campers, some people leave them. I've got a couple cars that have been there for years. As far as a lease, I just have a standard 30-day boilerplate lease for storage facilities that I applied to the outdoor parking.
Jim, who gives you your permit to be in business to store? Who do you get it from? The selectmen,
The town, I don't know. I walk into the town hall and I used to
It's
walk.
actually a use permit through the town clerk's office.
Okay. I guess that's something we all could look up on them, if there's anything about storage in our bylaws or zoning. I'll look it up myself for the next meeting, just to see, just out of curiosity for anything, if there's something specific about that.
I mean, one thing I do notice, as being in the business is that, a lot of people now have these shipping containers dropped on their property, residential or commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and they sit there forever.
Yeah.
You wonder if, Joe's Pizza, who has a shipping container in the back, is he zoned for that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Who knows what's in it?
in this business that's the business is changing, I guess.
You've had these trailers on there prior to you owning it. And probably pre-existed the zoning in town.
I bet it did. Outdoor storage, there's no doubt. Actually, you know what? I can't say with certainty, but I would imagine
Yeah.
that is the case.
And if the proposed location of the buildings, are those trailers in the way of that? Or could you still get those trailers on the property with these buildings laid out the way you're proposing?
No, those trailers would go.
Those trailers would go.
Now, if, Mr. Drury did his research and they belong to another Drury, I wouldn't want to upset my neighbors, but at some point the trailers have to go so I can expand the business. I don't know how that works, but it's just a 30-day lease that ends and the trailers get hauled away.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't cause ruffle feathers in town.
But
They would definitely go.
They would have to go to make room for these buildings.
Yeah. Plus, I wouldn't want an 18-wheeler stored. These buildings aren't concrete structures with bollards. They're just steel buildings. So if you hit one with an 18-wheeler, you're going to do some pretty serious damage. So they would.
Yeah. So you wouldn't want them driving through the property?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I mean, if there's room in the back, I would store a camper, or I would store or nothing. I mean, I don't know. It's I wouldn't be opposed to just saying, 3 new buildings, and that's that. The trailers are just there because honestly, it's easy money. They were there since I bought the place, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from the public?
No.
Okay. How about the board?
No, other than just find out about the if it's going to the planning board, and if not, we're still gonna, like I say, we're gonna need setbacks and layout of the proposed buildings.
Okay.
Other than that, we're gonna have to probably just continue the meeting.
Yep. What's a good date for people?
Whatever's good for you, I'm pretty easy.
Laurie, what, probably you're driving the bus here.
Why don't you let me get the information I need to tomorrow, and then I can throw a couple dates at you?
FYI, going out of town, till something like around March 9th, the 2nd to the 9th or something like that in March, just so you know.
Yeah, and I'll be gone like the 28th to the 9th or 10th or something as well. So yeah, the beginning of March doesn't look good, Laurie.
Okay.
Joe, do you have any conflicts?
I don't.
But I
Where
believe,
it's a continuation, we can set it up pretty quick if we get it done.
yeah, I thought the continuation we had to, so we didn't have to advertise it again. We had to pick a
We
date.
do not.
We do not. Okay, that's an old rule.
I don't know of it ever being a rule.
Really? Okay. That was always a thing.
Yeah.
We always had to pick a date to continue a meeting.
I
Yep.
will double check
Yeah.
and make sure before I do anything.
The week of the 15th of February is school vacation. So I won't be around the 15th to the 19th. If that's possible. But if
Probably the last
Okay.
week of February would work for me, just FYI, just to get it over with.
works for me too.
Yep, yeah, as long as, yeah, I think it's a
As long as we
Sunday
get
I'm
the-
leaving.
Should be able to.
Or we could do it the 9th, a week from tonight.
I don't know if we can get back to the planning board by then, though. Lori, when's the planning board meet?
Off the top of my head, it's the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday of the month. So
23rd?
Yeah, 9th and the 20th.
9th and 23rd.
So if we would have to do this on, let's see, the 23rd. February is a short month.
Yeah.
So
I mean, does the planning board have to meet to ask them that question, or can you just call someone and say, hey, is this something you guys take over?
I can call the chair.
Most likely we should get the answer, right, Lou?
yeah, it's not a decision they have to make. It's
Right.
pretty much a,
Just to,
Protocol thing, right?
you know, even a building inspector would probably know what else they needed to get a building permit, you know.
mhm.
Because the way I understood it, if I get ZBA approval, it would go back to the building inspector. So you guys might be the last line of defense. But
I
that's
can
just
get
the
an
way
answer tomorrow.
Right, okay.
All right, do you want to try, what's today? Can we get next week?
I don't see why not.
I think everybody's available, right?
I'm good.
I'm all right.
I'm good.
Yeah, why don't we tentatively
The 9th?
go for the 9th? Yep.
Well, planning board meets on the 9th, so I
Right.
can't do the 9th.
Okay, so
All right.
And I also have to check with TCTV to make sure that they have open availability.
all right, why don't we tentatively say we'll try to do it a Wednesday, the 10th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then that way it'd be after the planning board meeting, and we'll definitely have the information from then.
Same time?
Yes.
Thank you.
And if that doesn't work out, we'll send out some notices. We'll definitely be meeting something. We can continue it again if need be. All right, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion from the board?
We have a motion to continue the meeting until the 10th of February.
I'll second it.
All right. I think we've already discussed it. And so why don't we go to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we will get together again on the 10th.
All righty.
And that worked for you, Laurie?
As of right now, yes.
Okay. Very good. And so we'll close the public hearing.
Not close the public.
Not close it. We'll, yeah, just we're continuing it until the 10th. Now, the board, you want to stay on and take care of the decision on the first case tonight?
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Lori. I appreciate all your work.
Thank you very much, Jim.
All right, Jim, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jim.
See you next week.
Good night.
Anybody need a break now?
No, I'm all set, unless
All right.
you guys want one.
I just needed a drink of water. So what are you thinking on
The garage.
the garage one?
I'm for it. I think everything we talked about made sense. Make sure he doesn't go back out into the road that he doesn't plan on doing. That way, it's going into his driveway. He can turn around that way, whenever he goes in and out of, which is like what he wants to do anyway. The neighbors are good with it. That's a big thing for me, anyway. On these decisions, if the neighbors are cool.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. There's nobody speaking against it. So we want the garage doors condition, garage doors facing east. What are they, 10 by 10 garage doors?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I think he was gonna put 2 of them in.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll put that as a condition. What else?
15 feet off the front,
No less than.
no less than. Right?
No less than 15, yeah.
Off of
Boundary.
Dudley Road.
Dudley Road.
And I don't think, we really need any screening or anything. That would just be getting in the way of the line of sight for the neighbor's driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you there.
Trying to think of anything else. Should we say it only should be 1 story? Does that matter to us? We didn't want some gaudy thing there, but
Yeah, we didn't really talk to him about the height.
kind of thought of it. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Picture being there. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I'm sure the building inspector's got that. He's
Mhm.
gonna have to lay out the plans to the building inspector. So if there's gonna be any problems there with the height,
Yeah.
I think he'll address that and that won't have any concerns with us.
yeah, I think
How about the size that he said? Does it matter at all to us? I think he has to fit the side boundary and he has to go
Yeah.
with 15 feet. So he doesn't have much of a choice on the size
Yeah, he proposed 24
by 25.
24 wide across the doors by 25 deep.
Mhm.
If you're looking at it from the drive, the way he's driving into it.
Yep.
And as far as what he said about the knee walls, that will be left up to the building inspector, whether he's just gonna put the pylons in or if he's gonna have to put in a whole knee walls,
Yeah,
that's
foundation walls.
Yeah.
that's a building
Code thing.
That'd be
building
his
code
code.
thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be caught there. We're not giving a variance for anything like that,
All right, so
nor can we.
I think we covered it.
Okay. You want to have a motion to vote on, what case is this? Vote on a request made by Christopher Julian, 131 Dudley Road, to construct a 24 by 25 garage with conditions.
Okay, I
Any
go for it.
Discussion? We'll
None.
go
Nope.
for a vote.
I make a motion, we vote on Chris Julian's garage.
I second it.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I
So may
guess,
I clarify?
yes, Laurie?
You are granting him a variance for a 24 by 25 garage, no less than 15 feet off of Dudley Road, maintaining a 15-foot side boundary.
That's correct.
Okay,
And
thank you.
with a condition that the garage doors come out onto the east on the existing driveway.
Got it.
So you're all set with that one, Laurie?
I am.
Okay, one down.
And one to be on hold.
All right, any other business?
None that I
Nothing.
have.
Okay, nothing of mine. Al, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Make a motion, we can close?
I make a motion, we close the meeting.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
All right.